Hi, my name is McKie, and I'm the author of The Dignity of Profit, Creating Community Through Entrepreneurship. I was a business person who had spent most of his life just as a regular person. I was a Christian. I taught Christian studies, and I was very strong in my faith, but I also was a business person who had to work in that world. I had noticed that my kids went on mission trips, and they would go off somewhere and they would work for a while on houses, and then they would go play. I didn't see much interest in that, and I did try Habitat for Humanity, and while it's a good program, it just needed something different. And what I wanted to offer was my business acumen and my ability to help people in that way. So one day in church, a group of kids came back that had been on a mission trip, and I could tell that they were clearly impacted by what had happened there. So I was drawn in. I wanted to go where they went and see about it, and I did. And I got there, and I actually worked with the founder of the organization, and we went out to this woman's house. I'll never forget her name. It was Miss Emma Parsons. And we were working there, and I could tell exactly what the kids had seen and how important that was. So I asked, George was the founder's name, and I said, what makes your organization different? And so he said, why don't you let Miss Emma tell you? And so she said, oh, it's been wonderful. It's changed everything here. Before this group came, we had the highest suicide rate and the highest unemployment rate in the state. And I said, and that's changed? And she said, absolutely. So I was hooked, and I went 3 more times, and each time I went, I saw that there had been a difference in the number of businesses and the way people were looking at making things better for their community. So I just sort of put that away, and I went to work for a company as a consultant, and I wanted to do that for a long time. And this was a situation where I thought, you know, if I can help these people by explaining to them how they should make their business better, why couldn't I go do that in some areas where the poverty was a problem, and these mission trips were going in there. They were spending a lot of money, and they were making some good connections, but it wasn't changing most of the areas where they had located. So I started reading some books about, there were some that, you know, that really talk about how doing things for people in a charitable way is not necessarily the way to make it work. There were instances where an organization would take Christmas dinner and toys and stuff like that to the kids, and the father left out the back door because he was ashamed that he couldn't be able to provide for his family and had to have someone else come in there. So I started writing this book, and the book was to talk about how it's a better way for people to be efficient in what they do and to be able to help people, and more than anything else, create dignity for them where they had lost it because for whatever reason. It may have been health, it may have been they lost a job, maybe a factory left out of a location. So I realized that what I really needed to do was to help bring entrepreneurship to communities to help change the way their economy was working. And I've done some of that, and I'm doing more now. And I wrote this book because I want people to know how important it is. You may have heard that if you give a man a fish, you'll feed him for a day. If you do teach him to fish, then he'll maybe fish for a day or maybe even a lifetime. But if you help that person create a business that helps himself and helps the community, you've done the greatest good that you can for a person. So check it out. This is an important thing. Thanks for listening.